Hi, welcome to another episode of the Jen Thoden Show. I am your host, Jen Thoden, and this is the place to be to create your most stylish and confident you. This is episode number 9, and in today's episode, we're going to talk about the colors of oyster and taupe. I've been getting a lot of questions about this. I think it's a little confusing also when they see them in the color fan, so we're going to talk about that. And really, because we're talking about that, we're going to talk a little bit more about just what to look for when trying to figure out if a color is warm or cool. We have an online seasonal color analysis case study to look at. And then, of course, as always, I will have some personal messages for you at the end of this episode, okay? All right, so let's first talk about the colors of oyster and taupe. And the question really was, can you talk about it? And yes, absolutely. So here's the thing. Those colors, especially the word taupe. Taupe is sort of the catch-all phrase for a neutral-ish color that doesn't really, you can't really call it anything else. It's kind of like hazel for eyes. When you see someone who has an eye color that you really don't have a name for because it's a mix of colors, you typically call their eyes hazel. And so taupe is kind of like that. You see this color that's not really brown, it's not really gray, green, or beige, just kind of this color, neutral color, so we call it taupe. The thing is that taupe, just like hazel, can range significantly from cool to warm and even light to dark, depending on what you're looking at and what the manufacturer says taupe is. And so when you're looking at the color names and you see taupe, don't just take that as, great, I can wear taupe. Everyone looks good in taupe, I can wear taupe. You really got to look at it, make sure it's the right taupe, because there's cool taupes and then there's warm taupes. And the same thing is kind of true for oyster. Oyster is kind of that color where it's not really white, it's not really cream or ivory. It's this more like a soft white color that's not, it's like that, it's a color that you can't really put your finger on what it is. So they call it oyster. Okay, so actually I'm going to show you a screenshot of what I'm talking about just so you can hopefully understand the difference, so you can more strategically pick out your lighter colors like this. Okay, so here are some examples of the colors I was referring to. On the left is oyster, and you might be able to see that it's almost like a lighter version of taupe. And so it's not white and it's not really beige. It's, in my opinion, somewhere in between white and taupe, and it's very neutral. This on the screen, and it's just a screen, it might look different for you, but it's very neutral to me, which means I don't see a whole lot of yellow in it or blue. So I think that it's a color that just about probably anybody can wear without it being offensive. Like it's, oh my God, it's way too cool for you or way too warm for you. I think it's just a neutral color you can wear. I think oyster probably is in most of the color palettes and color fans. And even if it's not, I think you can wear it. It's not the most exciting color. You might look a little flat in it, honestly. I think it needs a little more than that. But I know there are a lot of things in these like linen type of colors, especially for spring and summer. So don't shy away from it. I think that if you're going to choose a color like oyster, make sure you wear jewelry that pulls you stronger into your color palette. Okay, so especially with something like this. The other side here, these are all versions of taupe. And I find this very interesting. I deliberately found these 3 different versions because this is what you see in different clothing, all named taupe. Now the one on the upper left, as you can see, as you can compare it to the other ones, is almost on the pink side. And this is a cool taupe. This is a taupe, in my opinion, that looks great on summers and winters, and not so hot on autumns and springs. The cool undertones in this case here is going to look great in that pinkish taupe. Okay, it's too cool in my opinion for someone with warm undertones. The one on the upper right is especially in comparison, you can see a lot of yellow and gold in that one. That's a warm taupe. It's almost beige because really, again, these color names, they all kind of mean the same thing. So it's still, when it stands alone, will look very neutral to you, but this one is warmer. It has that yellow to it. Colors that have a little bit of a yellow cast are considered warm colors. A color becomes warm when you start adding yellow to it. So if you're looking at the color wheel, from the red over, as you start adding yellow, it starts to go orange. True red is right there where actually anybody can wear a true red. But as soon as you start adding yellow, it becomes a warm color. And as soon as you start adding blue, it becomes a cool color. So that's why purples, pinkishy, violety colors all are on the cool spectrum, which is why this pink becomes a cool color and why this golden taupe here becomes a warm taupe. The one at the bottom is interesting. It's fairly neutral. It's not too pink and it's not too yellow. It's kind of right in the center. And in my opinion, can probably be worn by either person. If I were to really have to make a choice, I would say it's more cool than warm. It looks to me like it has some gray to it, which doesn't necessarily always mean that it's warm or cool. But the gray does sort of cool the color down. And so I would say it's probably more cool than warm, but more people probably have more success with that neutral color. So when we're talking about warm versus cool, and if you've got warm undertones, it doesn't mean you can't wear cool colors. But if you're in doubt, you've got these browns in front of you or grays in front of you. Your neutrals are usually the ones that are the most difficult to tell if you're not used to seeing or, just calling out what's warm and what's cool. You're looking for yellow hues and golden hues for you to feel like that's a neutral for you if you've got warm undertones. Gray is a tricky one. Gray is very neutral. It's also just by its own nature cool. So when someone says, well, you should be wearing a warm gray, it's because it actually will have some yellow in it that kind of warms it up. It almost starts to look a little green. In fact, that's exactly what this one down here reminds me of. It looks a little green to me now that I think about it. And so now I think, well, maybe that's more of a warm color. Sometimes it's hard to tell. But a warm gray will start to leave behind that silvery color, cool color, and start to lean more into a slightly greenish hue. Okay? And that's because you're adding yellow to something that probably already has some blue in it, and you're starting to get a little bit of the green in it. And in the opposite spectrum, when you're looking at browns and grays, the cool grays and browns will have a little bit of blue in it. Even your browns will. You'll see threads of blue. It starts to get cooler on you. Looking more taupey, like this upper left here with the pink. And the grays will start to be much cooler. They'll be more of a blue gray and leaning in that direction. Okay, so that's kind of how you can tell. Sometimes it just takes practice, and sometimes you have to try the things on and just decide if you like it or not, right? Okay, so let's now look at a seasonal color analysis case study. And by the way, if you have questions for me that you would like answered on the podcast and videocast, just send me an email at styleclub@outfitideasforyou.com, and I would love to be able to answer your questions on the podcast. Okay, let's go ahead and look at seasonal color analysis. Now, if you are interested in having your colors done, this is a paid service. You can find information on at the blog at outfitideasforyou.com. That's the number 4, YOU.com. There is a link in the navigation bar right at the top that says sign up for your color analysis. And when you click on that, you'll get all the information and videos on what's involved, and you can sign up there. Okay? All right. By permission, I was allowed to use this photo. And I love this photo because she's smiling. I love it when people send me photos for analysis when they're smiling. It's better than them scowling at me, and I get a lot of scowls. And so she's adorable. And it's a great photo too because I could see very quickly her coloring. I don't always get that from an indoor shot, but what I do see is that she's got auburn hair. I did find out that it is a natural auburn hair. She's got kind of depth to her. And she sent me a close-up of her eyes. You may not be able to tell in the video, but they're very earthy. They're hazel. Not too green, not too brown. They're kind of this earthy hazel color. And so her dominant traits, let's go over them. She has warm undertones, definitely. With that auburn hair, it's unlikely she has anything but warm undertones. But so it's hard to tell in this photo, to be honest with you. But maybe in this photo, you can see some of the golden in her skin. But she has warm undertones. She has warm eyes, earthy hazel green eyes, natural auburn hair. So she is warm and she is deep. If she were light, I would say her eyes would be lighter and brighter, and her hair might be a little bit lighter and brighter as well. So she's definitely a deeper richness about her. And so that makes her a warm autumn, also known as a pure autumn, the 4x4 color system. And I love her in these colors. She looks just, everything about these colors brightens and livens her up. And it's a really important to note that not everyone can wear this golden rod color or this pumpkin color. She wears it and she looks perfect, and it just brightens her up and she looks spectacular. But you're definitely not going to be a pure autumn if you put this on and those colors just don't look good on you. So it's very interesting. I love it when somebody falls so beautifully into their season and into their colors. She can wear all these vibrant, rich colors and just look fabulous. So I love that. Just between you and me, what do you focus on a regular basis? Have you ever heard the phrase, what you focus on expands? And I believe that's true. I believe that in the negative sense and also in the positive sense. It's really easy for us to talk ourselves into a bad mood. Just think about it. Something sets you off. It could be anything that triggers you, right? I mean, we got all kinds of things that take us off. And let's just say that someone was late to meet with you for lunch, and you had made time to meet this person and move things around your schedule to meet with this person. This person is 15 minutes late, and the lunch is essentially ruined for you because you've been waiting for 15 minutes for this person to show up, and you're thinking, how rude. I have spent all this, I've gone out of my way to make time for this person, and they clearly don't respect me and did not make time for me and respect my time, and now they're late, and I'm just mad. And so you start to focus on how inconsiderate this person was to you, and that's all you can think about. And so the person shows up, they go, oh, I'm sorry, the traffic was bad, whatever, and you're thinking, well, I had to drive here too, and you just, that's all you're really thinking about most of the time. And so essentially the lunch is kind of ruined for you. You're nice, you don't, whatever, and then you're kind of like, then you just leave, and then the next person that you see, which might be your partner or another good friend, and I just cannot believe that so and so was late. I went out of my way to make time, and she's 15 minutes late, and she didn't even seem to really care. And I'm smiling because this is so true, right? We do this. And so that person might be going, oh my God, I can't believe that. That's horrible. And then the negative energy feeds into itself, and it's just getting, the energy's getting more, and you're like, yeah, whatever. And, and then by the time that you've cycled around to dinner time, it's the topic that keeps coming up. And the day has now been spent, focus all this energy on something that really, if you think about it, wasn't that big of a deal. And you could have moved on from that hours before and done something far more positive and constructive with your time and energy. But, thoughts are energy. Everything that we think about is like a little energy ball. And when you've got an energy ball in your brain, there's not a lot of room for other things. Your mind actually is only capable of thinking about one thing at a time. I think I'm not going to say it's science, but scientists talk about it all the time. It's impossible for you to actually feel two emotions at the exact same time, or to have a thought at the two different thoughts at the exact same time. Within a second of each other, sure, but not at that very moment. So every time you are thinking about something, negative or positive, you're not thinking about something else. Whenever you are feeling a certain emotion, you are not feeling a different emotion. So if you are consuming your thoughts with that event, which is now, by the way, in the past, you cannot change, a person cannot undo, there's nothing you can do differently. But if you're focused on that, you are not focused on anything else. Consider that. When you catch yourself stewing over something that's happened, person cut you off on the road, somebody was rude to you, you feel bad because you did something that, either embarrassed a person or made them feel bad. You can't control how another person feels, so you only can do what you can do, and then you have to let it go. All these things that we focus on most of the time are things that are in the past, and they're typically negative things. Our human mind likes to lean quickly over to the negative, even when you're trying to think positively. This doesn't make you a bad person. This just makes you human. But be aware of your thoughts, and try to have the awareness of where your mind is going when it starts to go down this negative path that can easily become a rabbit hole, and it's very difficult to get out of sometimes. It's very difficult to shake it off and go, okay, I'm going to be in a good mood now. Think about this in terms of yourself. In the morning when you get dressed and you put on some clothes and you're not feeling so good about yourself that day. We all have those days, right? And I want you to pick something about yourself that you can believe it's true. So, my hair looks really good today. I have great hair. I like the color of my hair. Everything else about me might be falling apart, but I can rock this hair. Seems silly. I giggle when I say it, but you know what? Why not? If you focus on something that is making you smile and making you feel good, then you are not focusing on maybe some other things that you're not so pleased with. Maybe the scale number went up a couple pounds. Maybe those jeans are a little too tight. We are so hard on ourselves. We are our worst critic, and we put ourselves down on a regular basis. I mean, oh my goodness, the number of times I catch myself berating something about my body or appearance, is ridiculous. But I'm telling you that to be completely transparent, that we are all human, we all do it. But it's so easy for that to consume our thoughts and to bring us down. And when you're thinking about, the weight you need to lose, or the clothes that you don't like, or whatever, how tired you look, or how old you look, or whatever it is, you're not focused on things that actually can bring you up and move you forward towards things that are going to have a positive impact on your life. So be very aware. Be very aware of the thoughts and the messages that you're putting out into the universe, and focus on something that is simple and small and you can believe to be true. I'm not talking about chanting positive mantras that, hopefully you can believe, because belief is the core rule when it comes to those things working. You've got to believe them. You've got to believe in what you're telling yourself. Otherwise, it's just you're lying to yourself and you're teaching yourself that instead, that everything I say isn't true. So focus on something you can believe in. Even if you can't find anything that you feel good about, then go over to your jewelry drawer and put on a piece of jewelry that you just love. And just focus on that. I love I love this watch. Love it. Makes me happy. It's beautiful. I love it. Easy. Positive energy. As you radiate that out, will actually make you feel better, which then evokes more positive energy, and it's a cycle. It's the same kind of cycle that the negative energy does. Negative energy attracts more negative energy, promotes it within you, and it becomes bigger and bigger and bigger. So let's grow some good stuff. What you focus on expands, right? Okay. If you liked this content, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and to the podcast that's out on iTunes. Visit the blog at outfitideasforyou.com, where you'll find style advice, color and outfit ideas, and you can subscribe to the newsletter that goes out weekly with a lot of really great content for you to explore. I'm Jen Thoden. Thank you very much for watching and listening, and I will see you in another episode. Bye for now.